trying to find truth in history can lead you to an endless rabbit hole. This is not history. Our true nature cannot be found in books, can be written about, but words are very limited. The moment we put a name to the source of life, it limits it, because no words can be found what this is. Some people travel across the world trying to find this, the source of life, the truth, this oneness, love that we all search for when there's not a recognition of ourselves. There's people who travel all over the world in the search of this, in the search of truth, in the search of love, in the search of happiness. But truth is closer than your skin. It's closer than a sister, closer than a brother, closer than a friend. In order to find truth, find that source of life that is within all, there needs to be a recognition. Outside of the chattering of the mind, what it takes for self-realization is to sit with the truth. Sit with yourself in the quiet places where there is peace, where there is rest. Away from what we call life. Sometimes we just need to sit and be quiet. It's okay, really, to read the history. But as long as we know that that is not us, we are not history. We're not the movement of the day. We're not the comings and goings. We're not the phenomenal. We're not the storyline of me, myself, and I. I am Lynette, a black woman from, as long as we inherently know that the truth of ourselves is none of that. It is that breath of life from which everything has its being. The source, some call the creator, many names that we attach to what we call God. That is that breath of life from which everything flows and emanates from. And it's okay to have a search, and it's okay to be interested in what goes on in what we call life, and study history of that, and be intrigued and entertained by the storylines of who conquered what and how someone gathered their wealth, their riches, how currency flows, and all of the activities of what we call life. That is wonderful. That is intriguing at times. It's fun to delve in that, as long as we know the truth of ourselves. And the only way to have this knowing, is to be able to see that recognition between the storyline, the shapes, the forms, the concepts, the ideas we have of ourselves, of who we are, to be able to identify the truth of who you are in the midst of all of that, and know that just because the movement is there, that is not you. That we are not a concept, and we are not a shape, we are not a form, but we are that breath of life from which everything flows and has its being. History is good. It's good to be intrigued in that and to know history, but not look at history as the truth. Not try to find ourselves in the story. Because is the story me? Is the story of how I drove, got in my car, and went from one side of the town to the other me? Is that me? Does that define who I am? Am I identifying with the trip from one point to another? Is that a definition of who I am? Or am I a definition of the tone of my skin, or the culture that I grew up in, or the conditioning that I was raised in, or the beliefs that of my ancestors, or are those what I would consider myself? Is that the truth of me? Am I a storyline? And as we unveil all of those things that are amongst the changing, amongst the forms and the shapes, the things that are passing away, it's here one day and gone tomorrow. It's relevant today, and then tomorrow it's not. There needs to be a recognition in order to but recognize ourselves from the movement, from the activity, from the storyline, from the shapes, the forms, from the changing to that which is unchanging, that which hasn't been born, that has no bounds, that's not a concept, that's not here today and gone tomorrow. When we look and see, after we peel all those that can be taken off, what is left? And that you'll find the truth. You'll find the source of life. You'll find that love, that peace that surpasses all understanding in the midst of the quiet spaces, in the midst of the unchanging, in the midst of that joy that brings, which life emanates and flows from. You'll find the source of life. So it's okay to be intrigued by history. But out of all the findings and all the unveilings of the changing, truth cannot be found in the changing. The changing points to the truth. It's there for recognition to know that that's not me. Sometimes we go through things in this life, and there's valleys, there's hills, and the mind will bring suffering. But these all things are part of the movement. And the movement and the suffering, it's a way to point to who you are and who you are not. As long as we don't get lost or caught up in the storyline, we're able to recognize ourselves. It's hard to be able to see yourself if there's veils that are strong. Strong veils of ego, truth will never show itself. Truth will never reveal itself if they're within a strong sense of ego, strong sense of mind, body, person, strong sense of identity, strong sense of attachment. All these are veils which will just mask your true self. So it's okay to look at history, but just know that in history you will not find the truth. You will not find yourself. You will not find that source of life. Even though, even in history, everything is the source of life. but the changing is not. It's just the passing away. And it'll be here one day and then gone the next. We are not the changing. And so, yeah, this is what came up today. I really didn't have a topic. I just said, well, I'm just going to sit here and whatever flows, it's going to flow. But yeah, that's what came up. So I just let consciousness have it. Anyway, thank you for sharing this moment with me. Remember that you